Welcome back to another podcast. Here we go again, episode number 2 of No Sugar, No Cream podcast. Tim,
Yes,
it's good to see you
it's
again.
good to see you.
All right.
It's only been 2 days.
Yeah, haven't seen you in 2 days. Haven't seen you. Such a bummer that we hardly ever get to see each other. First one went just little kinks here and there, nothing better even than we thought. We were pretty pumped. It was a good podcast. We kind of hadn't recorded, either of us haven't recorded a podcast, and I hadn't done one
in
a couple years, I guess. And happy to get back into it. I did a little bit of mini podcasts. If you go to my Unscripted Banter podcast, I did a number of mini podcasts. I did some small interviews. I think one of my best ones was where I interviewed this guy from Florida, and he had this crazy story of them sticking a stolen van into a large man-made lake. It was crazy story. I ended up calling it Florida Man because there's always that joke about the Florida man and all the shenanigans Florida men get into. Kind of I'm sure you can just Google that and it would come up with a definition for a Florida man. Florida man is definitely a thing. Well, all right, Tim.
I'm trying to find our podcast on our YouTube, but I hope we're on there. I hope that I can't find it on my channel right now at the moment.
We do not exist, ladies and gentlemen. We are invisible.
Does it say live in the upper right-hand corner?
It does say live.
So we're live somewhere.
And you're also recording now? You're recording the whole podcast, you said?
I have to update
Okay.
the so a lot of technical difficulties, which maybe only nerdy people who do podcasts would understand.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the day when I used to do it with my buddy Jimmy, we used Restream, and in fact the account still exists. And for whatever reason, I switched over to StreamYard, and I believe the reason was because the YouTube advised guy I was watching every Saturday morning, Nick Nimmons. Shout out to Nick Nimmons. He would go live. I think he still does it. Goes live every Saturday morning for like 3 or 4 hours from Thailand, living in Thailand. I think he has a Thai girlfriend, and so I followed his advice a lot. And he would always advertise for StreamYard, and so I just gradually moved over to StreamYard for all my streaming needs. And we never streamed with Jimmy split screen like we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went to do this podcast on Sunday, I thought, well, I'll just use StreamYard. StreamYard doesn't have a split screen option. I even Googled it. So I went back to Restream, but I need a subscription to do all the things we want to do. So I'm in the process of moving from StreamYard to Restream. And your eyes are glazing over with.
I was just thinking about, once we hit 10,000 subscribers, we could be like those fancy people and probably be able to do the whole go back and forth. I feel like, that's going to be 100 or 200.
Where it shows you and then it shows me. Don't you need an editor to do that?
Now, I think with technology, it just, who's ever talking, it cuts to them. I think they got it where an AI kind of does it. AI is just taking over.
I would say you don't need to be at 10,000 to get there.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Well,
I just put that
we'll
out there
learn.
because that's definitely, a goal. I think we can hit 1,000 pretty easily with just our Facebook once we get on Facebook. I think you posted on Facebook, and I think we got just 30 some views even just on Facebook, and we're up to.
Oh, really? I didn't check it. Did you check it?
Yeah. I looked at it because I was trying to get people to join our page. If you want to, please join our Facebook page.
Thank you, those 30 souls who did watch. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're already up to over 10. I think about to 10 followers on our Facebook page.
Nice.
We'll be on all the social medias and all that. But anyways,
we're influencers.
Yes, influencers. I'm an influencer. Oh my gosh, I know what that's from too. Oh my gosh,
1,000-pound sisters.
I can't watch that show, man. They're just too big.
Well, I just Googled it, and they've each lost a couple hundred pounds, so that's good. That's good.
I am just about to, I can share this with everybody because a lot of people won't realize how big I am, but I have been over 300 pounds for the last year, and I am just about to dip under 300.
Let's celebrate for Seth.
I just weighed myself. I'm 301, And I've been at like basically since the last cruise, I've been at like 310, between 310 and 315. And just on these diet, I don't mind doing a fruit promo. I've been pretty pumped about it. I even got Tim into these meals.
Yes.
It's called Factor. I mean, if you
unpaid advertisement coming up.
yeah. Which I know there's a way we could post a promo code and get people discounts, and then that would give us a kickback back on our Factor thing. But yeah, the meals have been fantastic. They cost between about $10 and $15. Super good. You get them once a week, and they're good for 9 days. The meals are fresh and good for 9 days. And I was just messing with mine to pick out what for next Monday, and I went ahead and did 12 meals. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. And
where are you at?
Just cut out more.
The intro price, I ordered 10, and the intro price was like $7 delivered or $6 something.
Right.
But once you get over that intro price, how much is it per meal?
I think the most it gets is 15, which isn't bad because I mean, goodness, when we go out to eat or even get food delivered, we're at that $20, $25. Well, I mean, a lot of times when we go out to eat, we're at well over $30.
Yeah. So one of my favorite places to go to eat, and I have been watching my weight because I how many years ago? 5 years ago, I was much bulkier, and I see videos from that time, and I'm like, ooh, little fatty. So from my peak, I've lost 27 pounds, but I put a bunch on again. Anyway, but I'm watching it, and I really try to watch calories. So one way when I'm trying to reduce, I go to First Watch because they have good, delicious First Watch restaurant. I don't know if everyone has that in their neighborhood. Great restaurant. They close at 2:30, so you come there. And then they have calorie control, really filling meals for like egg white omelet is often what I get with turkey, and like 550 calories, and it pretty much fills you up. But by the time I get out of there and I like to tip well because they know me well, and they're my friends. I met friends through there who serve there. You're over $30 by the time you get out of there, and
that's 2 meals,
two Factor meals. And I when I was living by myself,
we start counting everything by Factor meals.
How many Factor meals is that? That's going to be our new measurement of currency. So, yeah. And well, then also the benefit of when you live by yourself, which after I had a roommate, Ashley, wonderful roommate, but she moved to Georgia to be with her boyfriend. And shout out to Ashley and Ariel. Hope you guys are doing great. If you happen to see this, I know Ariel started a podcast, so maybe we should connect, share podcasts with each other. Anyway,
collab. Do you want to collab with us? We're very experienced. We're on episode 2.
Anyway, so living by yourself, and not going to work because I work in my studio, and so
hard to cook for one person too.
Hard to cook for one person, and also, that's social. So I would go to First Watch because everybody knew me. In fact, they would bring my order as soon as I sat down, my coffee, my water, no ice, and my kale tonic with no ice. They'd know what I ordered because I came so regularly, and that's social engagement. But now I have somebody living with me,
a really nice guy. Is it too loud?
And so that social engagement goes down a little bit because you have, somebody having somebody that you run into them in the kitchen and you chat for a few minutes. Yeah. That's meaningful. That is meaningful to live by yourself and not have any interaction like that is a need. I mean, just let's be honest. You got to have it. I mean, we're human beings. We're social beings. So
COVID scarred me. I mean, I was pretty much stuck in a house by myself during COVID. Like for a lot of it, I was even living during most of COVID. And then after COVID, I moved to right when it was ending, I moved back to Northwest Arkansas. But during COVID, I lived in a small house and got Uber Eats delivered all the time. About the only interaction I had was going across the street where a guy had a little restaurant, and I hit it off well with, and he definitely did not help me with my diet. I had a lot of unhealthy food.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, but anyways, that's a little off subject from eating healthy, but yeah, with getting food delivered. I mean, and the thing is, a lot of times only once a day. If I stay up way too late, I'll end up start craving food again, like late at night. But for the most part, like yesterday, I just had two factor meals, and that was
Well, that's only like 1,000 calories. They're about 500
that
each, roughly.
That was under
roughly.
1,000 calories because one was 400 and one was like 550, I think. So or 580. So yeah, that was just under 1,000 calories.
You know, you're losing weight when you're consuming less than 1,000 calories.
If I eat like that every 2 days, I'll lose like five as much as I weigh right now. I'll lose like 5 pounds. So like,
good on you, man.
I'll be easily under 300 pounds tomorrow, no problem. But if I could just get that, like, I mean, yeah, it's good exercise, but my biggest thing is food, and it's not eating a lot of food. It's like, which I can't see how some of these people can. You got to eat a lot of food to keep up with the weight. You know, when people have really high weights, you know, of 500-600.
Right.
I would get tired of eating. Like I'm a foodie, but my thing is that I don't eat a lot, but in fact, we go on vacation together and I eat usually a lot less than everybody else, but I just eat the wrong things, and it's already stacked on there over time. I kind of plateaued over the last few years, and I did like creep up above to that 310, and I usually been about under 300, about 300 consistently for the last 2 years, but it's been 3 years since I've been under like 285.
What's your goal? What's your goal on this run?
220. I want to get down to 220, which is like, that's 90 pounds, and it's completely doable. I mean, just with
completely doable, man. Completely.
What I'm eating, and here what I've lost about 14 pounds in two weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Maybe a little bit over 2 weeks. What, I'm in here 3 weeks now?
Good job, man.
I've only have I been
You've
here?
been
3
here
weeks
since just after July 1st.
Just after July,
right around July 1st, 2nd, in that range.
Today
is
it was only
Tuesday.
2 weeks.
So you came on a Tuesday, was it?
Yeah, I came on a Tuesday.
So 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Goodness, it feels like it's been longer than that.
So how did you find Factor?
Factor, just getting advertisements. There's some YouTubers that's advertised it, and I used a promo code, so I got some discounts like off the bat. And I think you were able to use.
I did,
my discount.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying it costs like $7 each.
Yeah,
I got $150 off on my first order.
And they do have like, once you've done like 3 weeks or 4 weeks and 6 weeks, they give you some gifts. So I'm kind of curious to see what they give you, because I'm going to keep it going. I was curious about it, so I went ahead and ordered the first week and went ahead and paused the second week. But after that first day, I was like, yeah, I should do this.
And it does taste really good.
And you can see the calories, and it is very good. And it's
all
not
fresh.
frozen,
not frozen,
all fresh. And it's a bigger portion that you can get some cheap meals at your grocery store.
For example,
but they're frozen. And
go to Kroger.
These taste better.
And they're frozen, and they're much cheaper. And they're also lowering calories. I mean, you got like 180, like healthy, I don't know what they call them, healthy choice or whatever.
Nice balance.
You can get 180 calories, and they only cost $2 or $3, and they're frozen.
Yeah.
And I've gotten those, and I have some in the freezer still. And so they're cheaper, but boy, I eat one of those and I'm like, did I even eat anything? Because it doesn't do anything to satiate my appetite. Mm-hmm. So I just figure I have to eat 2 of them anyway. So, they're like 200, 250 calories each. So you're up to 500. Now you're still, as far as cost wise, you're still much cheaper than one Factor meal to get the same calories. You can get them for like, let's say round numbers, $3 each. So that's $6 versus 10. Are you sure they're 15? Because they were only off. I can't believe they average 15 once you get to full price. Do they?
I would say maybe close to 30, but they got the shipping and tax. Once you put a tag on the shipping taxes, like a normal, I think my steak meal was $11.99, but then you have the taxes and the shipping is $10. So really, once you add more over 11, I guess
shipping
we probably should be ordering together, because
we
probably would be cheaper that way.
Yeah, we can do the magic Venmo.
Should do that. Yeah.
I'll order one week and you Venmo me. Order the next week and I'll Venmo you.
That works. We should just use up our discounts, what discounts we have, and then probably switch over to something like that.
Plan is coming together.
Because we've already been sharing meals anyways. And Yeah, you got what was your first one? Your first one was one that I was like, go ahead and try this one because I wasn't sure if I'd like it. And I look and you pop that thing in the oven or in the microwave, 2 minutes and your food's ready. Like it's just like
Yeah, because it's not frozen. Yeah.
You just take it out, put it on a nice plate. It looks like a nice little meal. I could see where you could get wore out, tired of eating the meals like a little bit. I was feeling that a little bit later in the week, but you mix it up, stick a cheat meal in there. Like I think cheat meals are important, and then you can still watch what you eat when you go. But we like to go out to eat, so we mix a couple of those in throughout the week, and I am doing much better, and I'm saving money too. But yeah, those it was like was it a taco thing you had or a taco bowl? I think you had. And it looks so good with the corn, and it was like kind of even burnt a little bit, which
burnt corn,
Tim likes. Cheater, burnt corn eater.
That's from our childhood.
There.
So,
but
at Christmas, my parents were always really, really big on the Christmas holidays.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a big to do and decorate the house, and my mom, and lots of gifts under the tree. They all wouldn't fit under the tree. Everybody would be giving gifts, multiple gifts to everybody. And so I have two sisters. And so my Seth's mom and dad and brother would come, and my other sister and her husband would come, and we would have a big to-do and big meals. And we had this cheesy corn. Somehow the cheesy corn casserole dish got added to our staple of.
Mm-hmm. I still love it. Dale and I still love cheesy corn today.
And so I'm the sort of guy that likes the edges, a little brown and crusty. I don't know what the correct term
kind of like
is.
having it makes me think of having like like on the fire doing like a marshmallow, and I love the burnt part of the mushroom. Just gives it flavor. That burntness gives it flavor.
And so, of course, Seth's dad is Mr. Punster. I think he'd embrace that. He's a punster. And but this isn't really a pun. But we were playing a game, some board
basketball game. Which I would love to find this. It was just a cool basketball game where like the ball's down here and you're pushing the buttons, and wherever the ball rolls, you push a button to try to make a basket. So you have, and it was really cool.
And you and Daniel were probably less single digits in age. How old were you at this point in time?
Oh my gosh, we had to be so young. Like I can't have been like
12. So I don't know. I did something, and your dad goes, cheater, burnt corn eater. I don't know. It's just one of those inside family jokes, and it still pops up. It still pops up in Tim conversation. Just now, he said, burnt corn eater. He just said it.
And did you send the picture?
I did. I sent it to your dad. I did.
I'm not a cheater. I'm a burnt corn eater, but not a cheater.
Send it to your dad. Yeah.
But yeah, good times. The first thing when you started talking about Christmas made me think of that time that I think all the kids, the three of you, I think, went in to get Grandpa a case for his guns. And it was going to be too big to kind of just wrap in the living room. So you guys went ahead and just set it up downstairs because mostly us kids just hung out. Me and Daniel hung out.
He never would go downstairs.
He wouldn't go downstairs usually unless I convinced him to play pool. Which I was able to do every once in a while, but and so it was already set in there. So it was just an empty box. So all of us, I think 4 or 5 of us, pretended like it was heavy.
I remember that.
And took the box and pretended like it was heavy and set it down.
I remember that. Yes.
Went over. Do you even remember that was you?
Barely remember. Then what happened?
You went and sat down next to it and just land up against it, and it went like this. And Grandpa saw that.
He was smart. You couldn't pass much by him.
All it took is you just leaning up against it for a quick second, and then he walked over and went whoop and lifted up with his finger. All that hard work pretending like it's so heavy, and it gets ruined in a matter of seconds. Oh yeah, that was funny. That was so funny. That shouldn't have gone to that anywhere. Like, yeah, you actually spoiled it, but it made that such an epic, funny memory. We were all pretending it was so heavy. Oh, it's a completely empty box. Whoops.
All right. What else? What was your favorite meal so far in Factor so far?
Okay, man, the chicken has been really good. Oh my gosh. I had a pork chop, and it was much better than what we had at
Yeah,
the
we
restaurant.
went out to a kind of an upscale restaurant on a Friday night, and
I'm like
Seth
0 for 2 with,
you wanted to fight the. And then the guy said, "We'll have the manager come over." Of course, it was a busy Friday night during kind of happy hour time, and the bartender was very conciliatory, and he said, "I'll have the manager come over," but the manager never came over.
I hate like, well, I kept on eating a little bit more of it because like maybe it will taste a little better because I was so hungry, and it was so tough. It was horrible, and the manager never came up. I was pretty upset about that. They got a little.
What was the
frowny
other
face.
bad? And we're not mentioning the name of the
Seriously.
restaurant, but
it was still good. I think it was like for the most part
what was
that
the
place would
other?
be good.
The other
I
one
gotta
went
try
poorly.
steak
What
there.
What else did you order?
Oh, I had a burger the other night. The burger was fine, but it just didn't hit the spot. Like you know that feeling like it tasted fine, but it just didn't hit
Was
the right
that Sunday
spot.
night? That's when we went.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
we went to
after
your
our
favorite
podcast.
place.
Yeah, my favorite place.
Which I should have just ordered something else. Like what
And
yours was. Yours
I had
was
amazingly. Oh my gosh!
I get a pasta next time. Like
Yeah,
I mean, like they're not for a
yeah.
burger. They have a couple burgers on the menu, and it was fine. I mean, it probably would have made more sense too if I would have got the fries rather than mashed potatoes. But I do love mashed potatoes. That's another carb count thing, and there was a very good meal that I had with Factor that had a small just. The issue with me getting mashed potatoes is me getting a bunch of them, and it just had some diced potatoes, perfectly seasoned. They do such a good. The broccoli. I'm not a broccoli person, but they put a nice. They put not too much, but just right amount of butter. It makes it to have a good flavor to it. And I haven't been doing any salt or pepper, which is probably good because that's going to just add calories, right? If I
no calories, but it's just not good for you. The salt isn't.
The salt. Well, I'm more of just a pepper person, anyways. But
so pepper would be bad for your blood pressure, is what they say.
The salt,
yeah.
But pepper is.
So what's your when you go on cruises? Now you're going on 3-week cruises in December here.
If I could lose quite a bit of the weight before then, I mean, I could. It's pretty easy for me just to plateau.
So where you headed? What are you doing on 3 weeks? And
going on a family trip. Flying up to Seattle. Already got a plane ticket. Flying up to Seattle. And going on, we're doing 2 cruises, going to up to Alaska. First time in Alaska. Pumped about that. Never been to Alaska, and I think we have a few stops along the way, like at least a couple of stops in Alaska. I never really keep up with the stops very well. I just love being on the ship, but I can't wait to see you're going to see the glaciers, and should see some animals and. I'm looking forward to that, and then the cold weather. Go do the cold weather, which is in the fall. So I guess it won't be. Probably still will be pretty cold up there. And then we're doing a back to back. So then probably the same day, I think, or maybe I don't even know. But then we're going to Hawaii, complete opposite direction. So going to 40, 48, and 49. I think were they added
49 and 50. 49 and 50.
That's what I meant to say. Were they added 49 and 50? I think.
Yes. Hawaii
they were the
was
last
50,
ones to be
Alaska
added.
was
Right?
49. Yeah.
Yep. Still, people get that wrong. Think like we'll guess like either that we have 48 states or 49 or 51, which Puerto Rico practically should be a state, but I think there's some benefits by not being a state. There's some extra benefits.
I've read that as well.
I don't know if they can vote, but then they don't have to pay as much as taxes and stuff. But yeah. But
and then
50
you
states
got,
still.
outlying territories. You got a bunch of different places that maybe could one day try to be a state. You got Guam, deep in the South Pacific, and then you got the American Virgin Islands, which are St. Thomas and St. What are they? St. Thomas. Can you name the Virgin Islands? I'm trying to. St. Thomas is one. I don't remember the others. There's 3. I think there's 3. And in the Caribbean. And I know there are what other outlying territories do we have? I can't think of any right now.
I don't know. Let's go conquer one. Let's a couple AKs. Go take over an island.
So and then around Christmas, I'm going on with you guys. You're going on 3 of them, and I'm going on the middle one over Christmas.
Is the middle one you're doing? Is it going to be?
It's over Christmas
and
it's
New
over
Year's?
Christmas. I think we're off before New Year's, or maybe not. It might be the 30th or 31st.
Which you can always change your mind and
no,
if you decide to.
I've decided the back-to-backs are too much for me. So we're going to the ABCs: Aruba, Bonaire, and Curaçao. The only one I haven't been to is Bonaire, so I'm excited about that.
That'll be fun.
And
Yeah,
when,
I'll be that'll be enough cruising for me for a little while too. The last year and a half has been a lot of cruising. I mean, Australia, we did 26 days last summer. Was that last summer? Yeah, early in the 26 days we did 3 cruises, and then which a lot of fun. Earlier this year we went to Italy, and we did 21 days, 11 days, and 10 days. And that was on a different ship that we usually do Carnival. And that
no, it wasn't Italy. It was Greece.
Greece.
You talk about the one you with me?
Right.
Yeah,
but we
Greece.
did stop in Italy though. But we
didn't stop in Italy.
Was Italy not one of our stops?
No.
See, that tells you how much I keep track of the stops.
We flew in and out of Athens, and the ports we went to were in Greece, and then we went to 2 ports in Turkey. We went to Istanbul, which is Istanbul's amazing, even though it's great food. And then what was the other port? I'll think of it later. Ephesus. I think Ephesus was in Turkey. Ephesus was in Turkey.
When it comes to cruises, I mostly just enjoy being on a ship.
And then we
also
went to Cyprus, which is a country. And then I went early and went to Malta. Is an island.
Right.
So Cyprus and Malta are island countries.
You'd already been there, what, 3 or 4 days when we got there?
Yeah, I went to Malta for 3 days. Malta is pretty cool. It's got a lot of ancient history, A lot of countries have occupied or owned, I guess, or had Malta as their territory, because it's kind of strategic in the Mediterranean, and they have a lot of old history. And the thing about Malta is the Blue Lagoon Island. Well, there's like 3 islands. Are we still going?
Yep, we're good. I was just checking the minutes.
Thank you. The Blue Lagoon, that water is so clean. You can see like 20, 30 feet down.
I love
so absolutely amazing. Just beautiful, beautiful. Then they have these caves you can go in. You go in with the boat, and our tour guide took us around. I mean, I love Malta. But like one of the kind of bougie European lady she was Dutch, but when you go on these tours, you shoulder to shoulder in the bus, because you get on the bus to get taken to across the far island. And so you're with all kinds of other tourists, and 15, 20 people in a bus. And so you got Europeans, and you got a few Americans, not many, and other countries. And I happened to be sitting next to this Dutch lady who happened to be living in Paris, and she was pretty bougie and pretty snobby about her. She said, "Well, nobody comes to Malta for the food." And I have to admit that, she had a point. The food wasn't the highlight of Malta, but the scenery was amazing. I mean, the food wasn't bad, but it was not like, oh my God, but Istanbul food was amazing. Greece, of course.
Have you been to Australia?
Unbelievable. I've been to Australia.
Oh yeah,
but only just the 1 day, basically. 1 night in Sydney. Remember?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to go, because we're talking. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Irwins, and they got the zoo there it's on the East Coast. We never were able to go there, but I would just enjoy doing that for a few days.
You went to a 3-day. You had the boat was in port for 3 days in Melbourne, right?
Yeah,
and
it
what
would have
was
been
the
like
race?
8 hours away.
Some kind of a race thing that you did.
Oh yeah, Melbourne. Yes, we went to. That was my first time ever going to a horse race. That was a trip. I got some good videos too. And I'd love to go to some more horse races. There's nothing like because we went all the way down to the finish line, and there's nothing like it made me think
it is
a little
cool.
bit of
it is cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I never got around to betting on any of the horses, because the lines are crazy long. Like, you really need to have some nicer tickets to not be in an area so populated. But I mean, it's fun to just bet a few bucks on something, like that. Like, chance of winning, it's exciting. The craziness made me think of NASCAR, because the roaring of the cars, but with the horses.
Oh, so it was buggies. No. Oh, it's roaring of the cars.
But
what do you mean?
That's what I compared it to. Was NASCAR, because that's what I'd gone to one NASCAR thing, and you can't hear anything else when those cars go by, but the cars are flying by. But with these horses, you hear them in the distance, and it gets louder and louder as you come, and at that exact same moment, though, you hear the crowd getting louder and louder and louder. So the horses are getting louder and closer, and we're right at the finish line, and the crowd is going
you
crazy.
Had great seats.
Oh yeah. Well, that was all stand-up area. It was all walking around area. There were so many beautiful women with beautiful outfits on, and it was just and dudes looking their best.
You know what?
I was like,
we should. You know what's really close to here is the Kentucky Derby in Louisville.
Dude, we should.
But I don't.
Do that.
We should go to that.
Yeah.
And, it's only
we got
like 2-hour drive.
Yeah, I definitely want to do some NBA this year. I'm already planning on going to go do some NFL games. We got Tennessee Titans right here, so that's pretty chill. Talked about maybe getting season tickets. But I definitely there's in between or at the end of the cruises, we get off on a Thursday, and there's a Thursday night game, 49ers and Seattle. So I would like to hit like all the different stadiums and stuff. And at some point too, with the NBA too, that would be fun too. Just like there's a lot of these buildings are like, especially the newer ones. I mean, man, that building when they finished there in Vegas, which I've never been to Vegas, the stadium is just like a piece of artwork. All these buildings, like the AT&T stadium costs like $1 billion to make, and like just, or maybe even $2 billion, but it just looks like a piece of artwork, and it's just nothing like. It's pretty cool just to even watch it. We went to one game a couple years ago, Tennessee Titans, and they're building a new.
Yes, stadium. I just learned that. So
that would be
my buddy.
Too.
I needed a fan put in my house, and his brother, who I'm also in a construction business with, the three of us are in a construction business, and Ralphie he can do anything. He can do air conditioning, electrician. He's licensed for all of that stuff. And I needed the fan put up in my above my kitchen. It's 2-story and a slanted roof above, and then you got the catwalk above that you can look down on. Anyway, I had somebody come in and they wanted to literally cut a slot in the sheetrock all the way up the roof, the angle of the roof. And I know myself well enough to know that as long as I had this house, I'd be looking up at that and noticing it, because you'll never get it perfectly, mudded out so you can't see it. You're always going to be able to, especially if it's there, you're going to be able to see that slot that was cut in there to run the wires. Ugh. And I'm like, why don't you fish the wires? Well, he's a full-blown electrician. They don't have time for that kind of stuff. They don't want to fish wires.
What about you? What are you paying them for?
Well, electricians like to do, first of all, they love to do new work where they're framing in houses and there's nothing they have to work around. It's just framed. And then if they're doing existing houses, it's got to be a big project. For him just to come and fish one wire, he ain't got time for that. I mean, maybe others would be, or maybe someone who specializes in that home improvement kind of stuff, but then they're probably not licensed as an electrician. If you're licensed as an electrician, you make big bucks. So anyway, I asked my buddy Jimmy, who's Ralphie's brother, I said, what can I do to entice Ralphie to come to Nashville? Because he lives 4 hours drive away in Madison. And he said, well, he's a huge Pacers fan. So I looked on the schedule when the Pacers. Why do I see Colts? Keep saying Pacers. Wrong sport, Tim. Yeah. See, I'm NBA on the brain. NBA on the brain.
Oh, yeah.
When did the Colts play the Titans? And it was like the first weekend in December last year. So I got tickets. They were nosebleed seats, but I got 3 tickets way up. And they came down, and he did put the fan in. And it is nice, isn't it? Having that fan run.
That's great. Yeah, we just on now.
Anyway, so we went to the game, and it was a great game. It went into overtime, and it had something I'd never seen before. I'm not a big NFL fan, but it had a pick 2. Not a pick 6, but a pick 2.
Yeah, ran back a 2-point conversion.
Ran back a 2-point conversion. I thought that would be a 6-pointer. I didn't realize that was a pick 2.
Yeah.
Nobody said the phrase pick 2, but I started saying it because it makes sense. It's a pick 2.
2-point, yeah.
Not a pick 6. And then also
a 2-point interception.
The Colts blocked 2 consecutive punts. That punter, by that third time afterwards, when he does a third punt after being blocked twice, anyway, the Colts won in overtime. And so everybody was happy. I mean, I didn't care either way. I know I live in Nashville, and I should be rooting for the Titans. But yeah, NBA is my sport. Yeah. NBA is my sport. I love the Celtics. And banner 18, yes!
I know it's super easy.
Anyway, so then there's a end to the story.
Mhm.
So somebody calls me a month or two ago from the Titans and says, "Hey, how'd you like the game? And you want to get more tickets?" It was a very sales guy.
Mhm.
And I said, "I got to be honest with you. I only went because my friend are Colts fans and we were cheering for the Colts." He's trying to sell me Titans tickets. But we had a nice long conversation. He was, hats off to him. Ryan.
Yeah, it might have been the same guy. I felt
Ryan was his name. And he
same guy
kept
that I
talking
talked
to me
to.
and he said, "Here's my number. Keep my number. Call me anytime if you want more tickets." And he told me the first time I knew, I don't watch much local news to my detriment. He said, "They're building a new stadium." I didn't even know that. Because I complimented. I said, "Man, that's a really cool stadium." And he said, "Well, it's kind of old and we're building a new one." I'm like, "Well, I never would have
When
guessed."
is that new stadium? New stadium supposed to open? 2000.
Don't know that. Don't know that.
Because my thinking is to like just go ahead and if I do season tickets, just have it be for the new stadium.
Ooh, you're smart.
And just be paid ahead, and then because then like they'll let you divvy out payments, and then like it turns out to just a small monthly payment. Because it's just really that first year that's higher because there's a fee that comes with the stadiums, and then you just have a monthly small payment all the time, and you got a bunch of like 8 tickets a year or whatever. But yeah, I'd like to because they're easy to sell too, the leftover ones. That's how everybody else is able to get decent tickets.
My best experience in the stadium, I saw Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks there. Not a football game, but
yeah,
that was an absolutely amazing concert.
Then I think you get first come first serve for whatever seats you have. You can buy tickets, be the first ones to buy for any events going on in those.
Now you got my interest up.
Yeah, there's some extra little benefits for sure.
We wanted to get Celtics tickets, and I applied for Celtics tickets, and they declined because they said your address is not in Greater Boston area. I'm like, come on, man. So we might hack that.
Yeah. If we hack or do they arrest us? What happens? Like, do they scold your hand? You don't really live here, sir. We checked your utilities. There is no utilities in your name. We're solar.
Woo! Yeah, man, I would love. I mean, Celtics. They signed everybody back. I'm gonna have one of the. I think probably the biggest payroll of any NBA team. It really kicks in next year. But they got it. I mean, how many NBA champions get usually when you have an NBA championship and then the teams, the players on there want to cash out because now they got the ring, and they go elsewhere because now I'm an NBA champion. My market value is higher. The top 8 or 9 players in the Celtics all re-signed, all of them, every one of them.
It's amazing. You think be able to have some after they won a championship and their skills so good? Do you think you'll be able to watch some games with less stress than usual? Tim's a very big Celtics fan. Big fan. I remember we were able to watch a couple of the championship games just because I can't watch it. Which that's such a true fan. Like because I think my cousin has said that he's a big Lions fan, which I mean Lions have sucked forever and they're finally getting a little better now. But a true fan would say that they can't even watch it. Just and that's what
there have been times when I just I shut the game off because we're playing so badly. Stressful. And invariably my buddy Jeff knows that. And if they come back, he'll call me and say, "Put your TV back on."
And it happens. It's many times. Like, that's what's so awesome about NBA. I mean, all these guys are pros.
They are all pros. And, you got 450, theoretically 15 players per team, 30 teams, 450 players. And at any given day or any given play, let's say, player number 450 could outplay player number 1.
Were you the person that told me about the guy that I know I saw on TV, but I feel like you told me too about the guy that the people were like trying to say that they were better than him, that he really sucked.
Oh, yeah. Brian Scalabrine.
And then he was challenging people to play.
Yeah. Brian Scalabrine was, he's the podcaster. He's the broadcaster now think color commentary. He really knows his stuff.
Real tall guy too, right?
Tall, redhead,
NBA,
Italian.
of course.
Scalabrini. He's a redhead Italian.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And there are a lot of Italians in the Boston area. I don't know if he's originally from Boston. I guess I should know that. But he's got a very, very interesting, fun personality. And he really knows the sport. And he's been the color commentator. And he played when they won in 2008, basically at the end of the bench. I think he's like 6'10", maybe. So he's power forward or center, maybe probably power forward. And there was a guy who was all city, Philadelphia or somewhere, I don't remember, an amateur. But he was, posted on social media that he could, calling out Brian. I think Brian actually had retired by this stage, I believe. And so Brian, responded, said, okay, pick the place. I'll meet you. And they played one-on-one. And Brian, I don't know how the rules are one-on-one, but must be, if you ever score, you get 1 point. Brian beat him 21-0. So, and if you're at the pro level, even if you're sitting on the bench, you could smoke anyone else. I mean, NCAA, you watch the Sweet 16 and all that, and only and those are great players, but only 1 or 2% of them are going to make it in the NBA. And they're already playing for an elite Division I team. I mean, the eliteness of a professional basketball player, and not just NBA.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 12 people on the roster?
15. You can have 15. You can have 15. So that's why 30 teams times 15 is 450.
Which is so much different than having 50 or 60 on the NFL team.
Well, I think is it 42? But you also have the practice squad. So, who could be pulled up if anybody gets injured.
And you make a living on practice squad. But yeah, NBA is a very elite.
Much more player influence game. They get 50% of the revenue. And the players call the shots. Whereas in the NFL, I feel that the owners still heavily call the shots because it's so diluted by the players. And whereas the NBA, the players union, they have a lot of influence. And they determine what happens. They get 50% of the revenue that comes in.
Is that just divided up between all the players then? Or is that just go into their salary? Do they...
Which no.
How does okay, that's all their salaries? All the money goes to their salaries then? Or do they get extra bonuses? From
No, I guess generally when you sit down and you figure out how the revenue is divided, the starting point is 50% of it
all the
goes towards play it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so a club, basically, I think it more accurately, you would say that you get so much revenue per year, primarily, and I'm talking about the TV revenue. I think the local
that's where most of the money comes from.
That's
right?
where most of the money comes from.
Okay.
The gate revenue and the concessions and all that. Although for the Celtics, they don't get any concessions because the Bruins get that. And whatever deal it was, because they use the stadium, and so they get all the concessions for all the Celtics as well. Some kind of an interesting thing. So if you buy a beer or popcorn at a Celtics game, it goes towards the Bruins franchise. Anyway, just a little known factoid.
But they can play there or use
they use the facility. I don't know. That's what the arrangement. They share the facility in part of the way it was negotiated that the Bruins get all the concessions. Anyhow. Yeah, the bulk of the pay comes from the TV deal, but 50% of that is earmarked for players, and then you divide it up. And each team, that's why each year the cap space is determined based on the revenue coming in, and it varies from year to year, or goes down or goes up. And so that's
right.
why.
So if you're a multi-billionaire, you can't just pour millions of dollars.
Well, you
into
can.
Players.
You can.
But
you pay penalties.
But you pay penalties.
And it's
how do the penalties work?
Well, I'm not 100%. I know just in very glossing over top of it speaking terms, and it changes year on year because the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, they have one agreement that goes for so many years, and then they negotiate a new one, and that's a little different. And they have very specific things like. Some of the things they changed recently, which I was happy to see, that if you play in the development league, G League they used to call it, but now I think they call it the D League for development league. Like it's the Celtics one is in Maine.
They must have lost their sponsor with Gatorade. Because I know that's why.
That's why it was a G League.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe it is a G League still, or maybe it was a D League, And now
Right.
it's the G
It was
League.
the D, and they changed it to G for Gatorade.
Okay, you are right.
Which is clever. That's a
And
G
so
is what you think of when
those
you think
players
of Gatorade.
didn't make much, and they raised their salary. So those players playing in the G League are making more than they used to. And
Are those players making more than even WNBA probably?
well, yeah, a WNBA player was only making like $170,000 a year,
Yeah,
and I
it's
think a
still
D
at a
League makes more
loss.
than that. I believe.
No, the NBA. A lot of people don't even realize. I think it's the NBA that
The
the
minimum,
funds.
and now just
WNBA.
recently, I was googling this recently. Now, recently, the minimum salary you can make if you're a brand new rookie, if you sign an NBA contract, the absolute minimum is 1.1 million. It's crossed over the million mark.
Right, because I was asking about that. You looked that up just the other day.
Because it used to be in the hundreds of thousands, and now if you play in the NBA, you're making seven figures minimum, no matter if you're on a minimum salary. And then the more years you have, the higher it goes. See, that's all in the collecting bargaining. So if you have 5 years, your minimum rate is so much. If you have 10 years, it's so much. And then they also have money put away, as they rightfully should, for retirement funds. You can get money after you retire, because a lot of them, you're 21, you come out, you're a millionaire. Like these guys that just signed after they got drafted. They think their life, yes, they're a millionaire now, but they don't realize that the odds are they're not going to play for 10 years, especially in the NFL. The average length of an NFL career
three and
is
a half.
three and a half. NBA, I think it's a little longer, but when you're 20 years old, you think you're on top of the world, but you don't realize that it could end very quickly. And same thing in the NBA. You could have a career-ending injury, and you're out. And
interesting dynamic looking at NBA compared to the NFL, because more abuse on your body, but then NFL, tons of abuse on your body also because you're playing 70 some games, and NFL just plays once a week, but you're putting your body on the line.
Yeah, you're playing 82 games. 82 games.
82 games it is.
Plus playoffs.
Plus playoffs.
And preseason.
And then they count those, that there's that new mid-season competition.
In season, but that the in-season tournament. I think everybody's going to take it more seriously this year.
Right. It was just kind of
nobody knew what to expect last year.
Yeah.
And this year it's probably going to be taken a little seriously.
Yeah, the way if it doesn't hurt the regular championship in any way.
Apparently, I wasn't aware, but apparently in-season tournaments is a very common thing in other sports and in basketball in European leagues. It's not a foreign concept. It's quite common. And to keep, because you got 82 games and you're not playing for anything important other than end of the season standings, it's easy for casual fans to become less interested. So it's just a way to keep fans more engaged, and then players as well. When you got an 82 season season, it's easy to lose interest, and even as a player to stay motivated. And that's a grind. And so the in-season tournament is a way of building up that interest, something different, and money as well. Last year, if you won, everybody on the team that won the in-season tournament got $500,000. Even if you're a millionaire, $500,000 is still a nice little chunk of change.
Oh yeah. Well, Olympics is about to start here real soon. I forgot about that. That should be starting any day now, I would think.
I know they're doing the warm-ups, and they played Australia, and they only beat Australia by 6 points, and everybody's whining about what's wrong with this team. American team.
Isn't there some pros on?
Oh yes, Australia. There's some significant Australian pros. I can't name them off the top of my head. Canada as well, and European countries. Like Giannis is playing for Greece, and they don't have a great team though. They just barely made it. What's his name? Slovenia. It's a small country. Slovenia got knocked out. Greece knocked out Slovenia.
Yeah, remember back in the day, the Bulls back in the 90s. That's my team back in the day. There was a redhead there. I can't remember his name, but there was a redheaded guy from Australia. Pretty sure, yeah. Real tall guy.
Yes. I remember, but I can't remember his name either. Can't remember his name either.
Got some. They'll.
It's a big sport down there. I mean, a lot of basketball's played in a lot of Spain, France. France is really an up and coming. Watch out for them because, they have Wemby, the guy who's going to take over the league. He's a rookie this past year. I can't say his last name, but he's 7'4" and he plays like a guard. I think he's 7'4". I think I got that right. he is. They say he's the most talented rookie since LeBron was drafted 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's like how much you wonder like how much better can players really get, and then you see with Steph Curry, the game completely get changed.
He changed the game. Nobody played without their toe on the 3-point. Nobody shot a 3-pointer without their toe on the 3-point line before Steph came along. And he's shooting them from half court, and now everybody does it. People, you have to practice it, obviously.
I wonder, I know that the concept of shooting threes became more popular because someone broke down the numbers and realized, hey, we should be shooting more threes statistically because we're making 33% of our threes, but only 40. And if you count how many points you get, you're better off shooting threes.
The break even would be, just round numbers, would be what, 33 and 50?
So I wonder if that was part of an inspiration, or
so if you have to shoot 50, if you're shooting 33% from threes, which is considered a not very good 3-point shooting percentage, you'd have to be shooting 50. No team shoots 50% from 2-pointers for a long period of time. It might happen for a game, but not for over a number of games. So 33% is
they'll make them all day when nobody's playing defense. But once you get in the grind of it, have people in your face and talking crap and saying
so that's what the numbers. And so Mazzulla, who's our coach, young guy, one of the youngest guys to win an NBA championship, is all about the numbers. They say he's so nerdy looking at the numbers, and we're not the best shooting. The Celtics are not the best shooting 3-point team, but we put up the most shots, and because based on the numbers, and we kind of live and die by the 3-pointer because you're hot and cold. And it's interesting to see a team, and I've seen this just not the Celtics, many teams. If 2 or 3 guys miss 3-pointers, everybody's missing them. It's like it's contagious. But if people start making them, everybody's making them, and it's isn't that interesting? It's a mind game thing.
I feel like there's got to be a story there, like Moneyball, like. It had to start with one coach, or one was like, who was the first one to realize, hey, we need to be shooting more threes. Let's do this. And then, of course, it caught on like wildfire. But there's got to be like Moneyball. I love that movie.
Yes, yeah,
I love that. Always loved math. I was good at math. Got it from your sister. Like, she's good at math. My dad can't math, can barely multiply, but my brother and I both love math. And just that concept of bringing math into something that's like a sport is very interesting, the statistics.
Yes, yeah.
And there's got to be that same thing that happened, I would think, for the threes. It's a lot more simple, like, oh yeah, duh, but somebody was the first one to realize, hey, let's lean into the threes because statistically it's better off for us. It'd be interesting. I can see that I'm going to be stuck on YouTube.
On the next podcast.
I'm going to have to do some research and find this out.
Podcast number 3. No cream, no sugar, no cream.
We're at 52 minutes. So
we can call it. You want to wrap us up? You're very good. You have that DJ voice. Let's wrap it up.
I guess I missed my first calling as a DJ or a radio guy. I got with all this chubbiness, I definitely have a face for radio. But hopefully you're still listening. If you're still listening at this point, just write I love sports. I guess that is the thing that we'll also we both. I'm more of an NFL person. Tim has always been more of an NBA person, but you've definitely got me more into the NBA. I kind of lost interest when Jordan. I was a kid of the '90s, so it was Jordan. And I was born in Illinois.
There are some amazing young players coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, just so amazing.
Yeah.
And then they're playing on the Olympics, like Ant-Man is kind of a controversial guy. He plays from the Timberwolves. Anthony, I just know him as
Does he shrink and get big?
Anyway.
Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Please like, subscribe, hit us up on social media, send us a message, and we will see you next time.
All right.
Goodbye. No, seriously, goodbye. What are you still doing here? Are you still listening? It's a little awkward. Bye.
Trying to shut it off.
I love you.
We gotta get this better.
I love you. You're a beautiful person.
You're doing really well. Oh, let me just go over here.
This is the extended version. Thank you.